Rena, you good?
Yep.
Okay.
Are we on?
Trying. Recording paused.
Recording in progress.
Okay.
Okay. Today is Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. It's 2:30 p.m. Welcome to the Board of Assessors meeting. Before I do anything, I got to apologize for any confusion regarding an in-person versus a remote access meeting. Initially, this was to be simply an executive session in order to act on abatement requests, but other issues came up, so we switched to remote access. My oversight, sorry. I'd like to call the meeting to order. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting will be recorded and can be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours of the meeting. The public meeting is being conducted remotely from a computer. Please use the invite link to join the public meeting webinar. The invite link is on the agenda. So we've called to order. I'm going to ask if there's any board comment. Please keep your comments to 2 minutes.
Board member, 2 minutes.
Yes, two minutes.
Okay, first of all, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for hustling this, and it's a joint communications thing. And the way the laws work, you're allowed to essentially send a list of the agenda items, potential agenda items, to the chairman. And the chairman, you try to, he's timing me.
I'm timing you, yes.
Okay, so anyway.
Because I know how you are.
There we go. Okay, there's two things I would like to have on the agenda for today. And basically, first of all, a meeting protocol as required by the DOR. We have to have a recorded protocol. It has to be written in procedure form, and it has to be approved by our legal department. So I would ask that we consider adopting the selectmen's format, which is adequate. You did a really nice job in this new one, so I'd ask that during our quick meeting that we have that as well. The second piece is that we have, when we elected officers, we only really elected yourself. Thank you, John. We only elected yourself. We didn't have a chance to elect the vice chair, which I would love to nominate Kevin as the vice chair, because he's been here the longest, and I would nominate myself as the secretary. And that way, we can assume response.
Usually in assessors, it's a clerk.
It's the clerk, right, but in all the other groups that we've been, usually there's 3 positions, and I'll go check that, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help offload the load on our assessor group downstairs. And there she is, there's Sheila. And it is my honest and sincere opinion that you need to at least double the staff that you got here after we're looking at all the items that are required. There's a ton and a half. And so therefore, I would like to get that done and at the same time establish that meeting protocol, which also would include how often do we meet. Did I make my time?
You're okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any public comment?
I don't see anybody from the public here. Let's see. Actually, participants, we only have the 2, and one of them's the public access and my computer.
All right, so if there's no public comment, we'll proceed into the regular meeting. First of all, if we can review and approve the expense vouchers. Most of the expense vouchers are excise taxes and WB Mason.
There's 2 spots. Rich.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. I made
Didn't
that
sign the
mistake
top
last
one.
time.
Only two, Sheila, on these?
This, yeah.
Yeah.
I closed out motor vehicle yesterday, so these
Okay.
are July motor vehicle abatements.
Do we have to do a roll, because we're zooming? Do we have to do a roll attendance?
Only going to executive session.
Yes, just to open up the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that would be
Go
John
ahead.
Rabbit, present.
Richard Letard present, and hopefully
Rena? No, you don't have to be
No.
there? Okay.
Kevin Fish should be here.
And these are the excise?
Yeah, those are
Those are the
the
excise.
people who sold their cars or
Right.
or cracked them up.
Correct. Yeah.
So there's two sets, so these are all 2023 motor vehicle excise bills that we abated.
Yeah,
There are certain reasons that we can go back a year or 3 years for motor vehicle. So this, I think there's only one bill in here that we did an abatement for a 2022 excise bill. So we have to do them per year.
There you go. Okay, that's not the way.
thank you.
Thank you.
We get 6 to 7 batches of bills from the registry of motor vehicles a year. We don't, people think that the cities and towns create the bills, but we don't. They
Right.
come right from the registry. So this is our 4th batch that we got from the registry.
And so then you do all your processing in the CAM system and send it over electronically to
To
the
the
tax?
account-
Actually, the tax collector did this batch.
Oh, okay.
Normally, it's the assessor that does that financial end, but the tax collector's been doing it.
Since we lost, yeah. Bless their hearts. Tell Kathy, thank you.
So we have to keep one for the office, we give one to the tax collector's office, and one to the accounting office. That's why you always keep signing in 3s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is. And they're all duplicates, okay.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
This is payroll.
Tricks. Oh, another one. Oh, that's the payroll voucher, okay. That's fine, okay. So, okay, these are blanks
Yeah, it was signing it in advance.
in advance, okay.
Sheila had to go downstairs and get something else she wanted signed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is something else to sign, is that what it is?
I'm not sure.
Oh, there she is.
Wow. And one door without the other.
More payroll.
Your name's not on here, Rena, it's just Principal Assessors.
It's here.
Did you check that with Social Security, see if you can?
Okay.
Last thing to sign, you had actually voted on a couple of real estate abatements at the last meeting, so I processed them. Once it comes out of the system, we have to sign them and give copies to, copy for our office, copy for accounting, copy for tax
Okay.
collectors. So even though you sign the abatement applications, this is the copies.
Of the actual abatement.
Yeah, this,
Little redundancy, but it's okay.
that's government.
But it gets done. Thanks, Richard. Same thing. It's just one.
I think
It's just one point to sign, that's all.
They're packets, so they're all the same.
Yeah. And I see, and you've got the listings. of
yeah, the
what
back, yeah,
abatements
the
were given.
listings in the back.
Okay. Do you happen to have a running total at all, Sheila, and how much we've given for abatements so far? That's just the,
Yeah, I have to think about how to do that.
okay.
Well, either that, I'm sure that the accounting department has one.
Yeah, yeah.
She did.
I mean, I have all my paperwork to get like one continuous list.
Well, because Kevin gave that number to me.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
That's all I have.
so discussing office functions comes, I guess, under the items that you discussed come under discussing office functions, so.
Right.
Let me ask Rena, anything in the office that we should know? Office functions? Things are proceeding as normal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
Sheila just brought up, we do have a new ATV filing They just came in today, so somebody is appealing the value. So this is the second one we have, so now we have two ATV auctions.
Did you ever get a hold of the first one? We thought that might have been crossing it.
We haven't heard from Nate, remember Nate called him?
Yeah.
Well, he was in the office. Nate didn't get back to me to say if. Nate spoke
Yeah, he
to
didn't get
him.
through.
Okay.
I don't even know.
Yeah, he left a message
Yeah,
and Nate hasn't mentioned it, so I'm not sure where that stands.
Okay, so we'll just hold that in abeyance, and
Yeah,
and I wonder if this is somebody who's already had been abated,
yes.
and he's filing for a subsequent one?
It's, they're appealing their value of $604,600.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just that we've had a guest join us. Dave.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Mr. Kevin Fish has arrived, so that we were all here. Did he want to go to public comment?
Came straight through, so.
Yes, please.
Sure. Go ahead, Dave.
Are you looking for public comment, Dave?
Yeah, I got public comment if you're willing to hear it.
Yeah.
I
didn't know
can't
that.
hear
Yeah,
it.
he's saying yes. He would
Oh.
like to hear it if we want
Yeah.
it.
Go ahead, then, you'll be up.
A couple of things was, I know my wife and I went and saw you on July 29th, and we asked about our property at 155. Have you guys made an official judgment on that property?
Well, we're going to finish up the abatement a little bit later on, Dave. The real issue was Betty's question on the valuation of the house.
Yep.
Why it went up, and the reason for it was that it was town-wide, and it was based on the type of property you have, ranch, contemporary, colonial, and it's also based on square footage.
Okay, so my house hasn't changed since 1995. It's been the same.
Well, what is it, the construction cost per square foot? Changed.
And again, since 1995, it hasn't changed, and it went up the last 2 years, $135,000. So I hope you looked at that. So all I need to know is you're wasting our time. We have 90 days to file for an appeal. I've already wasted 30 days. So it's either a yes or a no, but I need something official from the town, if you could do that.
We will consider that when we go into executive session, and you should hear by the end of the week, right?
Mr. Chairman, if
Yes.
I might. I'm under the impression that the property type changed from like a cottage to a contemporary. No, it did not? Oh, it remained the same.
It's always been a contemporary. What changed was the dollar per square foot of all the contemporaries in town.
Changed.
So when you make a global change like that, it affects every contemporary.
Okay.
But it wasn't only the contemporaries that went up, it was the contemporaries, the colonials,
Yeah.
the ranches, and there was one other.
Okay.
And what it was the square footage, the cost per square foot
It's what increased.
increased, so therefore, if you have a good-sized piece of property, good-sized home, the square footage will affect that.
And if I could ask a question, Mr. Chairman, and there's a good chance I'm wrong, but I was under the impression that you take that new cost a square to build it, and then you run a depreciation against that?
Well, all houses
Have based on,
have depreciation based on the year built.
So it's all built in,
It's
yeah.
built right into the
and
system.
it comes right out of the camera, all automatically computed?
Based on the year built. There's a depreciation schedule.
Okay.
And, but the problem with this piece of property was that nothing had changed as far as the style, the grade, condition. All that remained the same. What changed was, it was called a conventional, and all the conventionals throughout the town went from $129 a square foot, I think it was, up to $155 a square foot, based on what contemporaries in town were selling
Okay,
for.
so.
But it wasn't only the contemporaries, the ranches went up,
Uh-huh.
the colonials went up, and there was, like I said, there was another style.
Okay, so you use the term conventional, it was a conventional, and then I think you meant to really say contemporary? His house is a contemporary?
I believe his house was called conventional, which is just kind of a generic for
Yeah.
contemporary. Well, whether it was a contemporary or conventional, they all went up.
All went up,
All went up on the dollar per square foot.
right, because it's the replacement cost side
Correct.
on the new material. And we also know that the new material, at the time of the calculation, material costs were through the roof.
But that has nothing to do with,
Replacement costs?
that's based on the year built
Uh-huh,
in the depreciation schedule.
right.
It's not based on a current,
Yeah, and then they
the
did the.
styles are based on what other colonials or contemporaries or conventionals were selling for in the town.
Okay,
So the dollar per square foot was adjusted.
yeah,
And that was done in '21, so it affected '22, '23, going forward,
Right.
until it changes again.
less the 18 years or whatever it's been there.
Yeah, that is,
There's a
he
formula
has,
that they've
there's
got in
a
there.
formula on depreciation,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
So, that doesn't make any sense to me, but that's fine. The other question I got is, how did you guys come up with your estimated taxes? What are you using for tax rate?
Oh, previous year's tax rate and the
Previous year's
value.
tax, adjusted from there, and then,
Previous
Yeah.
year's tax rate and previous year's values.
previous year's tax rate and previous year's value, Dave.
All right, so a lot of people, they figured out their tax rate now, even though it's not been reduced yet, is coming out to be $15.30 a thousand. Does that sound right?
No, because we're still using.
No, it was 14, it was
14.62.
14 and change.
You may want to look at some of the bills, because that's what it's coming out.
now,
The other, one last topic I got is, I guess people are trying to cash their checks, and if there's a mistake, they go to the bank, they can't cash them, so they go to get reissued a check, and the town's saying they can't reissue a check because we don't have an accountant. Is that, did you guys hear about that?
Well, the checks are being issued the same way the bills went out. If the property's in a trust, that's how the checks are going out, that's how they have to go out.
Okay, but
So
if it's
people do
wrong-
not have bank accounts that mention a trust, so the banks are not accepting them.
Did you get that?
Yeah, I got that, so when they come back and try to get that fixed from the town can't reissue a check with the bank.
She can reissue, you have to talk to Karen. Karen's the only one that can reissue.
Right, and they're saying to the people that they can't do it because they don't have an accountant right now. I don't know.
Karen is coming in a couple hours a week, so. I know Sue has a folder of people, checks that she has to go over with Karen.
Yeah, technically, it's who owns the house.
Just want to express something that I'm still very unhappy. This is really, to wait 30 days for an answer is really ridiculous. And Mr. Chair, as I said before, I still think that you should resign from your position. And I'm going to start either a recall, but we can't go through another year like this. This is awful what's happening. So I just want to make that public comment. And guys, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay.
if I could hit my items, Rich, real quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not going to stay. First of all, I'm going through the classes, as I said, and they're complex and such, but I think the one thing that stood out to me is if you look at all the response, if I can get this closer, where is it? I can make it bigger, I guess I can't. Oh, I can't, because it's you guys. Okay. The amount of responsibility is incredible. It really is. And I know they make recommendations with regard to outsourcing some of it inside, and they always come back to saying the same thing, that you're better off having an in-house group that can do this work. And and if you come back and you go nuts and you try to get it all done in 2 years, it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg. And in either case, I don't know where to go, Mr. Chairman, but I think we need to ask pretty quickly, how do we get you folks more help. It really comes down to that, because a lot of things that I'm overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that you guys got to do. And I think that we need to have a conversation with you folks in terms of what do you think we need for the resources and how much of it. And again, I might be overstepping my bounds, Mr. Chairman, but I think that...
It's a conversation that we've had more than once.
I know, but we need to kind of move on this to help.
Well-
And I'm in awe of the answers. Sheila, I'm so in love with the fact that you know everything that's going on and able to do so much, but there's even more that we can't run at you because you're overloaded now as it is. And we've only got, if you think about it, 1.5 people in an office that should have at least 4. And that's even according to Nate. So I'm thinking we need to get a full court press on trying to help. But the first step is we need to talk to you folks and saying, what do you think we really need?
Well, we're gonna need Vision to do the reval, and that's already in
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
And they will be starting in September.
Right.
So that's gonna be, because they're gonna be doing the bulk of all the revaluation work.
Yep.
That's what they're hired for.
And that's what it says in the
they'll be doing.
contract. That's what it says in the contract.
Yeah.
But we also have responsibilities that you currently don't have in that reval and all of that back and forth. I think I sent that out in terms of who has what responsibilities. And if it's one thing that these guys keep saying all throughout all the training sessions is that meet deadlines and inform others of the issues and the concerns. Are we really confident that we can meet all these deadlines that go on that schedule?
Yeah.
I saw you, just the 1.5 of you can do that?
Well, like I said, Vision is gonna be doing the bulk of the work, and they're gonna be
Yeah.
doing a lot of the submissions for the DOR.
Right.
So I'm confident that,
For that part?
Anything we're gonna have to provide for them, Jack, is gonna be done, and it's gonna be done on time.
Oh, I just need to make sure we do have all those things lined up to provide for them. And at the same time, we also know that Vision is just doing a drive-by shooting, right? Meaning that's the property that's there.
that's
There's nothing
only on-
really in there,
That's only on the field review.
right?
And we have more than met the burden of our cyclical inspection with what was done by CJ, what was done by Pat Herring, and what was done by Hannah, that worked for Pat, and what was done by MFS.
Okay.
So we've met the burden for our cyclical inspections, really, and that's interior inspections
Right.
for the past 2 years.
So I'm one of the ones that jumped out at me, and this is something that CJ had told me, I asked you, are you keeping up with all your sales with regard to arm length transactions? And CJ said, Jack, there is no way in heck, Jack, we just don't have the ability and the energy to do it. I know those arm length transactions are noted in your L3s, but also we're also required to make sure that the stats that are in the vision system are correct. And if we haven't, I don't know if we have or haven't done it, but if we haven't, we need to get resources to go back, and I don't even know if we can go back, because they require that we're supposed to visit in a very, very short period of time after the sales occurred, including pictures, and we have to be interviewing the realtors to make sure that there was truly an arm's length. I'm only as good as...
I've never interviewed real estate agents.
Okay, if you wanna, give me a minute and I'll get it for you, and I promise you I will get it for you. But there's a lot of pieces that CJ told me that they weren't doing, right?
Well, CJ might have not done it, but we have all the letters ready to go out for the sales verification. That is one of the requirements.
Right.
I've got a letter from another community. I put it in our format.
Yeah. That happens to me all the time. So,
And I have the sales questionnaire, and we're ready to email those all out.
yeah, this says that when you determine market value, use the most current sales data, recording an exact snapshot of the property at the time of the sale.
Well, we have,
At the time of the sale.
No. Oh, I was like, we came in.
Oh, that's,
No,
So-
it's still the open session, so you guys can sit through this.
So, and it has to be, all the stuff has to be, it's important that all attributes need to be fully identified at the time of sale because all value data will be based on this particular sales data. And we didn't, and it says we have to inspect all the sales, we have to send out questionnaires.
Yep.
And
I've got those
you got
all
those
ready to
all
be
all
mailed
covered
out,
up.
yep.
And the MLS listing, but it's interesting in terms of what qualifies as an arm length. Even questions about how long was the property legitimately listed determines whether or not it's arm length or not. And you really know, did you put a pre-sale sign out the front of the house, coming soon? And was that sale made before? So there's a lot, and that's what Nate found, and he took quite a number of the transactions that weren't arm's length out of that formula. And I'm just asking, is the information on the property cards or wherever we keep that information, is that all available? Is it all collected? Is it all done?
Yeah.
I don't know, and if you're saying yes, excellent. And it's
From
just
my end, I process the deeds and then I attach the MLS listing.
listings.
So you can find them right on the property.
Yeah, and then who's talking to the realtors? Does it-
Why would we
I've
talk to
never,
the
yeah,
realtors?
I've never talked to a realtor.
Yeah. Okay, sources of data, your research on the sale of data. It's the registry of deeds, what you're doing,
Right.
Sheila.
The sales
Okay, the real
verification
estate says
notice.
real estate brokers, and I know Nate did talk to real estate brokers. Online services, and I guess you couldn't look for MLS and things like that. Real estate publications that might be out there, because I've discovered that there were, you look at the property card, and then you look at what's for sale, and I even asked one of the owners, he goes, just ignore that property card, it was wrong. So the real estate publications, interview the buyers, the sellers, are we doing that? Have we interviewed them?
Those are sources, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be. other-
Those are only
yeah. And
suggestions.
then multiple,
Suggestions are not mandatory.
They're not
Yeah,
mandated.
you don't have time to do all that, Jack.
well, that's just it. Do we have time to not be, to take the chance or sacrifice our
But
accuracy?
like she says, those are suggestions. Those aren't
Yeah.
necessarily, you gotta do it.
You determine market value by using the most current sales data available to develop your
And
online
a lot of
values.
that depends on who is in the office. When I was in my office,
Mm-hmm.
I did all my own sales verification inspections.
Yeah.
I would call, I'm coming out to look at your house, you just bought it. It depends
Perfect.
on who's in the office.
Right, and we've had a year in which CJ told us, or told me, that he wasn't able to get there.
Well, this was a
And
very
that-
unusual year.
Agreed. There's no fault here. It's just that, okay, we know there's a hole sitting there. Are we gonna
And
be
I-
able to have the resources to address that hole, to make sure we don't take money
Well-
that we really shouldn't be, or not leaving? Like, another thing that comes up is that when we do the year-end transition, right, we have the building permits, right? And we're supposed to be going in and assessing those to see the level of completion on that building permit. And I know it used
That's
to.
not on the building permit.
It's, okay,
Level
but,
of completion, when you do an inspection, like I just went out to
Uh-huh.
a house on a building permit, it was brand-new construction.
right,
There were a few things that he hadn't completed, minor things like molding and
Mm-hmm. Sure.
stuff like that, some of the flooring. I'm the one, because there's a schedule, so I would put on that one for this year, 90% or
Right.
95% complete.
And-
So that's done during the inspections,
I appreciate that.
on
but-
the building permits.
Okay, so we go into our transition new year, right? We go into either it's January 1 or July 31st, I don't know when we lock the date in. And we're supposed to go and do an assessment at that point, because that becomes part of our new growth number. Would that be correct?
The
The level
The
of
new-
completion of the
level of-
projects.
Yes, it does. It's all part of the new
Yeah.
growth. And
So-
the new growth has to be submitted by, I forget exactly what the date is, but,
Mm-hmm.
and CJ did leave. He told me what he hadn't completed. I just got a sign-in for the building department, so I can go in
Mm-hmm.
and pull up all the plans, and I can put the new buildings in.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to ascertain the level of completion of that property, right? And that level of completion becomes part of our new growth, and that's revenue for the town.
Yes.
And are we have we
Well, when-
looked at all those building permits, and have we come back?
CJ did a lot of them, and he has the percentage of completion, because he
Does
did
he?
it by COs.
Okay,
So a CO is a certificate of occupancy. So going out on a
Right.
CO inspection, he wrote down on the cards. At that time he went out there, it was maybe 100% complete, or 90%.
right.
So it's all in the
On those
cards. So-
changeover dates, the dates we lock everything in, January 1, right? Did he go out and somehow look at all those properties and then ascertain their level of
No, he
completion?
does the building permits and the COs.
Yeah, but he only looks at one.
as they come in. They don't all come in at once.
When they pull the permit, right, they give us a date, that's the start date. And then, basically, whenever that January 1 rolls through, there's a whole pile of permits that are in process, right? They
Right.
haven't completed the projects. So basically, that date determines the level of completion of
No,
that
that
project.
date doesn't. It's when you go out and inspect it.
No, that's not what I read, but I'll check that, Rena. Rena, you're more knowledgeable than I am, but I was just under the impression that when they gave us the, I'll pull it out, I'll send it, that as of that date, we assess the level of completion. Not
If it's
all
on an
towns
OC
have to do that. What's that, I'm
permit,
sorry?
if it's on an occupancy permit. Yeah, not if you're just going out to see a deck or an
Uh-huh.
addition. You're gonna put in either it's complete or they haven't
Yeah.
started it yet. You know, a swimming pool. It's
Okay.
either there or it's not. The only thing you need a percentage of completion is on an occupancy permit. Brand new construction, new houses. That's
Okay.
when you're required to put in a percentage of completion.
I'll check that. I'm agreeing with you because I know you're much more of an expert than I am. I just know what I've read, and that posed all sorts of questions, so.
Just bear in mind, we have abatement
At
interviews
3:15.
starting at 3:15.
Okay, I didn't see that on the schedule. Okay, the second piece, and I won't go through it, Rena, maybe you and I can gab about all my questions. I won't bring them up from the meeting, how's that? Okay, the next question is the adoption of a meeting protocol. And I would like to introduce, get this stuff out of the way. And on the meeting protocol itself, this is good, Rich. This was well done. I'm looking at the Board of Selectmen, and they do things a little bit different. And at first, they let the board speak, then they bring the public in, and then they go through their appointments and interviews, and then the town manager's report, which would be like your report,
Yeah.
your assessor's report, leads assessor's report. And then they've got old business the carried over stuff, and then they have a current business. That would also include things that we're working on in this meeting. And honestly, I don't know what I need to prepare for without, this was an open discussion, in terms of discuss often functions. If we could come back and get a little more definitive, I can go do my reading, I can bring material in that would support either side. So if we could do something like that and put that in there, and then the current business, upcoming meetings, and our schedule, I would like to see us establish a meeting schedule, and you know how I feel.
Yeah?
I would like to see 2 meetings a month versus, go ahead, Rich, you can tell them what you're thinking.
I think one meeting a month is fine.
But then we can't get to a lot of the discussions, we can't get, and I respect the time that we're having, and I know, Rena, I'm with you on the Tuesday, because you gotta take care of that. You gotta take care of that, that's,
Kevin, what do you think about number of meetings a month?
Look, if you're talking during a high activity cycle like we have with
Abatement
the
cycle.
abatements, exactly,
Right.
then yes, but during the slower periods, which is the bulk of the year, no, I don't think we need a second meeting,
I
honestly.
agree with you.
so, we're talking a variable rate.
Yeah,
Let's start-
what you and I discussed before was schedule one meeting a month. If necessary, you have the option of scheduling a second meeting. But what I don't want to do is schedule 2 meetings and being locked into 2 meetings.
Rich?
Difference of opinion. that's
Different
all, Jack.
opinions, but we're agreeing that, first of all, everything takes energy, right? That's a basic, everything takes energy. And in order to move an object, It takes energy. That means our time, our efforts. We haven't come back and really understood what we have in terms of capabilities, but we know that there is a ton of stuff that either needs questions answering or he needs to get fixed, right? So if we come back and we create a list of things that need to get done, then 2 meetings a month is good. And Kevin, if we run out of stuff to resolve, then I'm agreeing with you. Only meet once a month. Why meet for the sake of meeting, you know? But at the same time, we have a lot of stuff to do.
There are a lot to do,
And the
and
reason,
two meetings winds up taking 4 hours of their time.
and the reason why I do that, ask for that, is if we can at least schedule those two, and we decide there's not enough, we can, at the end of our first meeting, we say, it's not
We're
needed.
saying the same
And
thing.
We have
we're
other
saying that you
lives.
have the option to schedule a second meeting if you need to.
Yeah, but-
Why are we locking ourselves into a second meeting that, in most cases, we won't be utilizing?
That's not true. I would strongly disagree with that position. And if we don't need it, we can cancel it. But meantime, there's a lot of items that need to get discussed and resolved, and we're into the foreseeable future. And I want to schedule myself. I came back last week early because I thought there was going to be a meeting. And all I know is that we need a meeting schedule. And if you only set it once a week, once a month, that's way underestimating it, and we can shift back anytime you want, but create a schedule that calls for 2 meetings a month. Just allow us to plan personally.
I'm sorry, I just don't agree, Jack.
Okay?
Well, we can take a vote on that, Jack.
You just did. You just did. That's one of the basic problems we have, is it's only 3 members, and we really can't talk and discuss. Okay, these...
You have about 2-3 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes left. Okay, check the reissue. Okay, I asked for 3 things. What was the other thing? Oh, reorganization. Not reorganization, continuation of the organization as it sits. I would like to nominate Kevin as our vice chairman.
I decline the position.
You want to be the secretary?
Yeah.
I'll be the secretary, sure.
You'll be the secretary, okay. So we need to establish a protocol with regard to the information we get to you. And then once we have a meeting protocol established, we have to take it down and get it blessed by the legal folks. So are you going to be taking the responsibility to draw up this new meeting format?
That's my job.
That's your job?
That's my job.
Yes.
You're allowed to keep whatever you want. I'm trying to give you a chance to survive.
I'm good here. That's my job.
That's your job. Okay, so Sheila, we are going to be sending to the chairman or to you or both of yous what we'd like to see on the agenda or considerations of either that agenda or future agendas. Is that what we're doing? Would that make sense?
I'm gonna talk to Rich about it, yeah.
Well, okay, here you are.
Yeah.
Here you are.
We have an appointment at 3:15, so we're going to have to table this and go into executive
I got that
session.
last question, that's all.
You're all done?
I'm not gonna, I could keep going forever, Rich, I told you.
We
that.
know that.
I know, I tell you that, there are all the numbers of questions that we have that we've not resolved, could go for quite a while, but I'm not gonna go there. All I'm saying is that, Sheila, will you work out with Rich the protocol and get it to our secretary and have him come along and notarize it, and somebody take it down to the attorney and say, is this okay? We have to do that, and that's what the DOR says.
Okay, so,
I just learned that in the training session. I was shocked. Okay, so that's me, I'm done. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Rabbit. I need a motion to enter into executive session and not to return into open session after exiting executive session. Under executive session under purpose 7, to comply with or act under the authority
Let's
of
get you a couple
any
chairs.
general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements.
So moved.
Jack, I need you,
Oh, yeah, they're not part of the,
I need a vote,
yes.
okay.
Sorry about that.
Well, actually, it's a second in this case, but
All in favor?
roll call, Kevin Fish, aye.
Richard Letarte, aye.
Jack Rabbit, aye. John Rabbit,